guy's ready to go. He's bringing the noise.
Farrah, put him on whenever you want. Whenever
he's ready.
He's ready, you can go ahead and throw him on for his return.
Oh, man. What's up, Stuck?
He is the one and only Stuckey from the Action Network joining us here on Bostonian versus the Book.
Did you fix your hair up for this or what? You look great.
I just did my own podcast, Big Bets on Campus. A little plug. By the way, Matt, you're doing content right now telling people to tune everything out. That's not the most effective way to
I would say just me. I mean, I'm just talking about, I'm not saying tune it out. I'm just saying my own bets. If you want to, if you're listening to me for my bets, if you're coming to me for my content, I'm just telling you where I've been. I'm not saying turn the content out, the whole space. I'm just saying tune my own. For me, hockey has been very good for me by not looking up anything besides just doing my own research on my own stuff. And so in football,
tune everything out, but this, and then my podcast. That's it.
Your podcast is phenomenal. I mean, look, we last time we had you on, you didn't just sweep the board, you'd annihilated the board with the prop you gave everybody. So, like, I'm not telling people where to go to get their content or their information. I'm just saying for me, because I bet every day now that I've got to figure out what works for me. And right now, just not listening or reading and just keeping myself locked on me is what I'm doing.
Well, yeah, that's the content space right now is, and this is what I was ranting about this last night and wanted to talk about it today. And Dave, as always, is very gracious and willing to let me rant. But the space is devolving into such a cesspool of, like, I can't send a tweet out without getting a fixed bot tweet, right? And people don't DM me for fixed games. Someone told me the amount of people that are signing up for this. It's like people don't know. Like, number one, no one has a fixed game that is publicizing it. Like, if they have a fixed game, it is a hush hush. We just got to get this down. Do not tell anyone. They're not selling it for $50 on Twitter. Number one, that's everywhere. It's got to stop. And it's ruining the space. It's like the end days of the forums. And then you have, I mean, I don't even worry about Twitter. Go to TikTok. The amount of people that are saying that they are pro bettors that are just ripping off money or, ripping off something from an article and then charging like $6 a day. Listen, there's very few exceptions. A couple, people that bet for a living that are selling picks.
Right.
Very few exceptions. Why I take the blanket rule, F all touts, because everyone's going to say they're the exception.
You can say whatever you want, by the way. If you need to swear to get it out, you're more than welcome.
We're clean.
We're people that, for the most part, 99% of the time, people that are saying they're professional sports bettors are not charging $6 a day for their picks. Correct. And if you want to know if they actually are or not, there's I subscribe to a couple because I got to know when the market's moving. They'll move the market, right? Those are we know the exceptions.
Right.
If you're getting a pick from, you're paying for a pick and the market doesn't move immediately, it's not worth it. Trust me. And that person's not betting for a living. Right. So there's just so much, and look, there's a lot of people that are on Twitter to get accounts because a lot of, betting for a living is networking. It's almost just as important as betting. There's people now that are robbing accounts and not paying.
Explain this to people because I've had more people even come to me about, do you know anyone that can get accounts? Can you help me get accounts? What does that mean to someone who doesn't know or live the business? Can you explain it a little bit so the newbies can understand it?
Yeah, I mean, think about if you're a professional bettor, which I'm not, right? A professional bettor is someone that relies on it for their sole source of income or their primary, I guess I could say. So if you're trying to get money down, right, it's difficult. You'll get limited, right? You're a professional bettor, you're winning. Yes. So how can you get money down? That is the biggest problem. So you have to meet people, network, and get accounts. So if I go to Vegas and I meet somebody, right, and they say, hey, look, I have an account that I can give you. You can bet through it, and you get a percentage of it. Right. And then basically you just try to collect as many accounts you can. Now, look, those are probably going to end up getting limited, and it's a constant. And that's what it is. That's in order to get enough down, you have to collect accounts. Everyone on Twitter, almost everyone, they're just out for their own self-interest that you have to always keep in mind. Yes. Same with me, same with everybody. Right. But now there's people, you got to be careful. There's people that I'm hearing more and more of this where people are like, hey, I'm a professional bettor. Can I have your accounts? They'll run up the account and look, professionals lose too, but these are people that are running it up and then not paying. Yes. And then you're stuck with your local. Yeah. And probably the only account. And by the way, you got to be careful when you do this, because if you get limited, then and that might be your only account. Maybe you don't want to do that, but just be careful with who you're getting involved with. Be careful with who you're giving money to. There's no fixed games. Most people aren't professional sports bettors that are charging money, and the space is just becoming so toxic. And there's so many new bettors that it's only going to get worse. And I just feel like we need to talk about it more and just make sure that, because you think about it, I just take for granted that people wouldn't know that there's fixed games, or people wouldn't know to not buy
common
picks from
sense.
But some people haven't been in this space forever. Like betting just became legal. They go to Twitter and they see this, for a fixed game, or I'm selling picks, and I think in the content space, we need to talk about it more as well.
I think your point on TikTok is really well said, because I think for us in the industry, Twitter is sort of where we all live. But TikTok has become the #1 social media app, and it's blowing up with such younger audiences, 18 to 30-year-olds. I mean, I teach at UNLV. I see the kids on TikTok like crazy. That's where they all live. And thus, the handicappers, scandicappers, whatever you want to call it, their stuff has all mitigated over to TikTok, where it's quick, unregulated, and unchecked. And they can do through DMs and also to different connection points, get after people.
And young audience, which is
correct.
Which is
Yes. Under 21, people who shouldn't be getting marketed to, of course. What do you make of, Dave and I talk a lot about this on the show, a little bit about the online and the app betting versus in-person betting. Do you think the books would ever say, and I know mobile is so big in these new states and explosion, but to push people to go back to the in-person betting model if they want to get down 5-6 figures to identify who their customers are?
Yeah, I mean, look, I think that the best part about legal sports betting, in my opinion, is that how people get in trouble is they bet on credit, right? And that's how you can really get in trouble, because if you're betting with a legal book, you have to actually put the money up. Right now, there's still people that will, in other accounts, you can put it up with a credit card, whatever. But for the most part, that's the best part about it. But if you're a problem gambler and then you need to bet on credit, you're going to be able to find ways to do it, even in legal states. So there's just, my biggest problem is just it's the youngest people that are in like high school and college that are new states that are consuming this awful content, getting tricked into buying, picks from frauds, they getting stiffed, thinking that there's fixed games, and then getting in real trouble. And then, at the end of the day, this is still something that can lead to a real addiction and problem, and people can get in a ton of debt and trouble and ruin their lives, lose their families. And sometimes it's not when people are losing. We don't talk about this enough either. People that are winning a ton, like I have people that when I'm on my hottest streaks and they're tailing me, they become like the worst people in the world, and that's all they care about.
The reverse martingale, right? They're pressing and pressing and pressing. Never ends.
Then all of a sudden you're throwing way too much money around, and then you're inevitably going to lose it, and then you're used to betting, and then you're betting over your head, and then you become this obsessive person, and this is all, and it controls your entire life. So there's just so many aspects of this space, and there's so many shady characters. Like you guys, there's so many great people in the space if you can weed through the shit, and it's such a good community, but there's so much shit. And I just think that we need to talk about this shit more often,
I couldn't agree more. And this is what we do. And like when we get together, we have these deep level conversations in the midst of giving each other shit all the time.
Sure.
But you have to keep finding these people in the space. Is there too much noise, opportunities, platforms, just in general, not just in the gambling space, but what social media has done? I mean, we're grown-ups around our age, and Matt and I have kids, and there's all kind of things. But like, is there too much where everyone has a voice? Like, how do you tell someone, don't post your picks, we don't give a shit anyway?
Yeah. No, there's so much noise. You just have to find like a couple people that you trust and want to ride with and enjoy their tweets or their company, and but there's so much noise, and as a new bettor, that's why I think it's so difficult. How do you distill what's real, what's not, who's legit, who's not, who's fake, it's hard. So I think the more we talk about, like, okay, this is why something might be fake or real. We can't just assume that everyone gets it, because most don't. That's okay. And
Right.
people are new
Yeah.
to the space. So
Well,
there's just so much shit.
I mean, it's
you're right.
funny. So, like, Stuckey, I think the first time I talked to you was probably my second or third week when Action Network had signed on. And I knew just by talking to you, this was 6 years ago, that I was so over my head through everything. I did not know 99% of the stuff that I know now, because I went to the school of Sharapan for 6 years and sat next to him, and he taught me literally everything I know about the gaming space. And I'm very fortunate and I'm blessed that I met Dave and was able to kind of get walked through this and to see things. But younger people who are entering the space don't have the mentor, don't have the Dave Sharapan, don't have the person to go ahead and do the work. Do you have any advice for people who might be getting into the space, who might think about going into the space, that this is what I would do if I was in your shoes, if you're thinking about going into the content world?
Yeah, I mean, it's sort of like, it's tough because, and if you're thinking about it, you got to do it now. Like, it's only gonna get tougher to break into this space as there more states become legal. It's more widely this. By the way, this is the same thing with betting on sports. Now that it's become legal, you're gonna have guys that are going to, that smarter, that guys that used to go to finance are now going to go into the betting space, and it's only going to make the process of the markets becoming more efficient. It's going to happen even quicker. It's going to be tougher to beat the market over time. But in the space, it's just more and more people. I mean, go to TikTok and scramble. There's every high schooler is like dancing and giving out picks, and so yeah, you got to do it now, and you got to just right bother people, like just bother people, network, and just be persistent. There's no easy
There's no
easy
one way
way.
to do it. That's for
Nope.
sure.
Everyone
But
has a
isn't
different
there a
path.
wrong way to do it, though? There might be one right way to do it, but there is a wrong way to do it, right? I mean,
There's many wrong ways. Yeah.
yeah. I mean,
There's no magic pill or magic formula, though. I think
No.
you just have to be persistent, and then you just have to be a sponge and over time, and you just have to network with people, and then you either have it or you don't. I don't know. I mean, I wish that if there was an easy way to. It's really with any industry, but especially now, there's so many people trying to break in that if you want to do it now. It's only going to get exponentially more difficult.
Exactly. And I mean, this is what I tell the kids that I coach. This is what I tell my own kids. This is what my dad told me. If you want to do something bad enough, you're going to find a way to do it. You're going to find a lot of fucking ways to do it wrong, but you got to keep going. And you got to have at least one person in your corner. So whether you as an adult can be that person for a kid or a mentor or all this other stuff, they ask questions. You have to tell them the truth. And I think we're all searching for the truth in the space, but in the truth in life. And if people tell you the truth,
Deep.
even if it's not what you want to hear, but it's what you need to hear, now you go, you know what? He's a real jagoff sometimes, but at least he doesn't lie to me. Or at least I think he has my best interest in mind. And it can be a she too. It can be your mom. It can be a whomever. It doesn't have to be a he or she. Last one for me, Stuck, before we get you back out of here.
Dave. I love it.
But this is truth. This is again, it's just truth.
I agree with you.
So you were texting last or tweeting last night. And for those of you that don't follow Stuckey, follow Stuckey. He's at Stuckey2 on Twitter. Keeps it real. I mean, when you see the tweets, you can hear there's a unique thing to tweeting in your voice. You do it all the time. It's refreshing as hell. What were you so pissed off about last night? Like when you said I'm coming after people, I'm calling people out. What were you so angry about last night?
Well, the number one, the fixed game bots.
It's annoying as hell.
I can't tweet anything else. But I have a friend that is in a lot of trouble, and I got to help bail them out, and it's happening more and more. And it was one of the scenarios that I talked about before, and there's so many people that get in trouble in this space, and there's so many shiesty characters. There's always going to be, like, we're never going to get rid of the shiesty characters in the space. They've always existed, pre-legalization, always will be there. But there's people getting hurt by a lot of them, and I need to speak up more. I don't speak up enough, and there's just so many people out there misleading others and new betters, and legit makes me angry. It's like hurting people that are close to me that should know better too, and are still getting hurt by people that are leaving them out to dry, misleading them that, that they're a tout that is a pro better. And like I said, there's like 2 or 3 exceptions. If the market's not moving when they're giving your picks, they're not professional. It's not worth it. And please be careful with whoever you get in business with. If you are sharing accounts, if you're trusting anyone with information, like, be careful, verify who this is with as many people as you possibly can. Because there's some good ones out there.
Yeah.
And everything's a gray area, right? There's some
our
good
whole
ones.
lives are gray area in this.
Yeah,
It's
but
all gray area.
Just be careful. And I want to talk about this more often. This is a perfect platform to do it.
Love it.
Hopefully we can do it again in the future. But I appreciate you guys, and you guys are the best.
Well, yeah, here on this. If you could give a piece of advice for somebody who might be either thinking about going down the road of giving an account, or they're new, what should we be all saying? Like, how do we properly explain to people who are coming into the space? Because literally every day someone's new, finding this show or finding your content. People are coming in. Legalization Ohio just went legal. Mask goes legal in a week from today, or 8 days from today. Mask goes legal. What should we be saying to these people about what's happening in the industry to keep them safe? Can we do something to say something, or should we just deal with it when they come to us?
No, I mean, I think that by talking about how it works,
Yeah.
and then like a good person that is like, if you're going to work with someone reputable, they're going to say, and you're going to say, look, I'm a little hesitant about this. They'll say, here, do you want 20 names that you can talk to these people, and then talk to them, find out more about it. If you can't find anyone to talk to that can back up who this person is, and if they're reputable, stay away. It's a good chance that you're going to get involved in shit.
Yep.
Ask questions, talk to people, talk to as many people as you can. Just be careful tread lightly, assume that everyone is out for the worst, and they're not. There are some exceptions, but if you have that mindset, like I say, all touts are bad. That's, even though there's a few exceptions, I want to just get that mindset out to people, because if you have that mindset, you're less likely to get hurt. That's all.
Stuck, thank you, man. This is a really important topic. Thank you for coming on. We'll do it again soon, all right?
Absolutely. Have a good one, guys.
That's Stuckey, at Stuckey2 on Twitter, to go follow him from the Action Network. Great work, great stuff with him. Follow him. Obviously, get his podcasts and whatnot as well
segment,
here.
Man. Yeah.
God,
well, I love that guy.
Look, here's the interesting piece.